Hey guys, I'm Nathaniel with Farmer U, and I'm here in the Farmer U test garden where I have a powdery mildew problem. But not every powdery mildew infection is the same, nor does it need to be treated the same. And so in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 different levels of powdery mildew infection that I currently have going on in my garden, and the 3 different solutions that I'm undertaking to solve each one. Powdery mildew is a fungal spore that floats through the air. If powdery mildew is in your area, then it's floating in your garden. The good thing about powdery mildew is that not all powdery mildew varieties affect the same plants. The bad thing about powdery mildew is that it forms a dense white fungal layer on the top of your plant's leaves that prevents it from engaging in photosynthesis. As a result, the leaves die, and if the infection is severe enough, the plants may not survive the infection. However, even if your infection is terminal, it may not be the end of the world. I'm standing here in my pumpkin patch that has grown so voraciously over the summer, and even though nearly every leaf is covered in the fungus, the foliage and the pumpkin growth has been able to progress more quickly than the infection. So what's my solution? In this instance, I'm going to let the infection run its course. The plant has already produced multiple 20 to 30 pound pumpkins, some of which are already totally orange. So the foliage has completed its job in growing the pumpkins. There's not much more that the leaves need to do. Not to mention the complete exercise and futility it would be to try and treat such a large surface area. Next, let's look at my black currants. These 2 plants are in terminal decline. Each year the powdery mildew sets in early, and each year the plant ends smaller than it began. If I don't solve this problem soon, there won't be any leaves left for the fungus to grow on. And this is where the solution may be to treat the underlying cause, rather than the symptom. Because what I know, that you probably don't know, is that I planted these 2 currants in a spot where we had just ground out a large oak stump. So it may be that these plants are doomed to fail from the start. It turns out that a decomposing oak stump just might not provide the right amount of nutrients that the plants need in order to thrive, or at the very least grow more quickly than the infection can grow. But it also may be that this species of currant is not resistant enough to the powdery mildew. Much like this flower growing on the corner of my house, there's no real hope of overcoming the infection, in which case it may be time to move on to another plant that has a reputation for being resistant to the powdery mildew. The only real way to know if my currants will survive is to test. So I'll be digging these 2 currants out and planting them in a new area that I know has great soil structure and nutrients. The third place that I have a problem with powdery mildew is on this honeydew melon vine. The fungal growth is mild and unlikely to grow much beyond its current infection, but the melons have not fully developed yet, and I want to make sure I get as much photosynthesis happening as possible. I like to keep my treatments light so as to not make the cure more harmful than the disease. You can spray neem oil, a blend of 1/3 milk and 2/3 water, or 2 to 4 tablespoons of vinegar in a gallon of water. It's better to spray lightly over multiple days than to do one heavy treatment. If your treatments aren't effective, take a moment to consider if you need a different path. Because there's multiple ways to address a powdery mildew problem. You might not always be able to solve the problem with a spray. Instead, there's other factors that you need to consider, such as the plant's resistance to disease, the health of the soil that it's growing in, and the time of year. All these things play a role in making the choice of do I fight it or do I just let it go.